prepper. All right. I mean, listen, I didn't say that, Beth, as a pejorative, but I just find it fascinating. There's a lot of people that are doing so much of their own homegrown stuff, and some people are just into that, and some people are preppers, and whatever works for you. Good morning, Jesse. It's good to see you, dear. And all our hearts are with Jesse today. She lost one of her birds. Jesse runs a bird. Is it a sanctuary? Is that the best way to describe it, Jesse? And she gets rather attached to them. And they do some amazing videos, including, I don't know the name of the bird that is learning how to say, "Do you want some coffee?" But that was absolutely adorable. I put it out on Instagram, Twitter, I think both, maybe, something like that. But, our hearts are with you, Jesse. I'm sorry. That's really got to suck. It's a rescue/sanctuary. And, Jesse, there you go. There's the evidence you're a better person than I am. Because I'm not rescuing any animals and running any sanctuaries. I'm just trying to do my best for all of us to keep our heads calm, focus on freedom, focus on positivity, and all of those things. But one would argue what you're doing is much more. It's a Quaker. You want coffee? Well, that's awesome. Maybe we'll do. Send me some more videos of your birds. I'll throw them on. I put them on the Rumble chat as a lead-in to every episode. I just think they're quite awesome, and I'm glad to see that I'm resonating with some members of the animal kingdom. I feel completely honored by that, so thank you, Jesse. And to everybody else, I want to say to you, good morning, and a very positive and amazing morning for all of you. I hope you're all having an awesome weekend. My weekend was a little bit busy. Before we start, please like, share, subscribe. And to those of you who've been messaging me that you've been listening to this stream in a podcast form over Spotify and, I don't know, Apple Podcasts, somebody told me, whatever. Thank you. Cool. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to focus on making sure that I have both of these things dialed in. So, yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate it. Cheryl, good afternoon. I guess you're in the East, and giving Jesse a big hug. See, Jesse, everybody's got your back. We all love you, and what you're doing is great stuff. I know some people who rescue cats, or as I describe it, kidnap cats. And but whatever, try to do good for the world. That's an awesome thing. So love you for it. And welcome to your Freedom Coffee live stream. This is the place where we acknowledge the freedoms that we have and the freedoms that we fought for, and we're going to share some ideas how to expand those freedoms in the future. And as we always discuss, how do we do that? We do that with two simple things. First, we need a cup of coffee, or if you're in England, which is interesting, I just booked a trip to England, that might be tea. And if it's tea, then that's great for you. And the second thing is, step two is we got to make sure we're in a state of positivity, that we're not suffering any sort of anxiety or an anxiety poison. And because you can't fix the world if you're angry at the world and you're suffering anxiety, because we need to have a clear head as we do things and we discuss some of the things we're going to talk about today, which is actually really relevant to this. So I hope you all have your coffee. Mine is 2 cream and 2 sweeteners, so have your sip. And now we start doing our best to save the world. So we'll talk about a few things. Yesterday I was in Cambridge, Ontario. Went to an event for one of the truckers, the last trucker who was arrested and beaten, Chabavizi. And got to see him and a whole bunch of people. Saw a bunch of people who knew who I was. I had a couple of books, gave out a couple of books to people after being asked many, many times, and different people. I felt bad. I should have brought more, but it wasn't about me. It was about Chaba. And but it was really great to connect with many of you. So for those of you who are watching, who were there yesterday, it was great. And yeah, I didn't tell anybody I was going. It was kind of a surprise. Tried to squeeze it into my schedule, the kind of half day that I have here, sort of thing. And it was really nice. It was really nice and refreshing just to catch up with people from the Freedom Convoy. And of course, there's always, political opportunists hovering around And what are you going to do? The grift always continues, but we're not going to allow that sort of negativity take away from what we've all done. I'm No GJ Productions. Good morning. And Megan, good morning. Only 3 minutes in. Glad I made it. Well, I'm glad you're here too, Megan. I appreciate it. Megan, thank you for all the likes and retweets on Twitter. Like that's awesome. I notice them all the time. Don't hesitate to send me any comments and whatever. Jesse, I am so excited that Elon is killing bans. I guess you mean by blocking. Yes. Well, Jesse, we're on the same team on this. This is great. Finally, because I see a lot of people complaining about it. That they're gonna leave Twitter, and now it's from people on the right. Oh, they're gonna leave Twitter. It's just like people on the left who are gonna leave the United States and move to Canada. And I think everybody's just got to calm down and just relax and just try to see the forest through the trees, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to understand what he's doing and why he's going there. So let's talk about Elon removing blocks from X, formerly known as Twitter, or as X-Twitter, or Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. Personally, I'm supportive, and this is despite, and many of you here know this, those of you who have been listening to me, following my Substack, you know the targeted harassment and targeted defamation that I've been subjected to over the past year and a half. And it has been an onslaught, all these political grifters calling me a grifter, calling me this and that, whatever. And just a reminder for those people who are new listening to this, while you hear, the pejorative, label me a grifter, I think I'm one of the only people who haven't asked anybody for any money. I haven't asked anybody for any donations, any money, no handouts, nothing. So how that becomes grifter, I don't know. What I did do is focused a lot of time with John and myself to put together this book to tell all the positive stories of the Freedom Convoy. Now, if you're a communist, you might think that's a grifter, right? But if you're a regular person, a normal person with a functioning brain, you know that, okay, all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into this is to tell the story, is to provide something for you. And most importantly, I want this book, as many of you as you can, to share it with people on the opposite side of the political aisle, because it seems to have, I know a few cases that it's helped open up the minds of people who are, former liberals, maybe slightly left to center sort of thing, that believed in the legacy media conspiracy theories around the Freedom Convoy, which is what they did. All they did is promulgate conspiracy theories and lie to their audiences. So, HonkingForFreedom.com, now available on Apple Books, by the way, as well. So let's get back to Elon removing the blocking. So despite all the harassment, defamation, targets, whisper campaigns, everything that I've been through over the past year, and I'm not the only one, right? But despite all of that, I am in favor of removing the block feature, and I'll tell you why. And I could argue both sides of this. I do understand the argument for the other side. I know what people are getting at, and the barrage of hate, and that, again, believe me, thousands of messages calling me names and from convoy supporters. Those are the feds and the political ops. But I went through a lot of it as well. But the first thing is, I think we got to get away from trying to download reputational protection to a platform or even the government. This is how we get into the restrictions on speech problem. This is where it comes from. Remember, those of you who may know Anita Sarkeesian going to the UN and complaining about online harassment. And I get it. Some people can't endure online harassment. Okay, well then you're not going to be a celebrity. Sorry, that's just the way it works. Unfortunately, people just suck, right? I'll get to that in a second. Megan says, what about the fake accounts? I like blocking those. Yes. So what do I do? With the fake accounts. This is what I was doing with Tamara's account, because as you know, Tamara's Twitter account during the Freedom Convoy was me. And what I would do is anytime there were bots that were attacking me, and you can see they have like 1 follower, 2 followers, what I would do is I'd take a snapshot of the profile and I would respond with their snapshot like, oh, look, 2 followers. I wonder if that's a bot. And once you do that, boom, the bot shuts up every time. It was hysterical, because it's an API that's plugged into a database of just random insults. You can tell the bot accounts because of low follower number, and they'll say something like, "Oh, you're a liar," or "You suck," or "You're ugly," like really stupid stuff that's uninformed, and you can plug it into any sort of generic insult. It's not actually responding to comments you had made. And I think we'll all get wiser and understand what is a bot, and we'll just be able to mentally filter them better and not allow it to affect us emotionally, right? I'm going to get to that. Megan's asking about the impersonators. I'm going to get to that. So I think the first thing is it's our responsibility. And, when we talk about things, we're like, when we engage in any sort of conflict with people, guess what? People on the other side are going to respond. That's just the way it is. I said that to Tamara during the Freedom Convoy. When she said, there was, after like the first week or so, she started wanting to leave and saying, "Oh, I want to leave, I want to get out of here, blah, blah, blah." And I guess that's why, I don't know, certain things happen that I'm not pleased with, but whatever. And I remember she called me once. She's like, "They're saying things about me. They're saying, all of these lies about me." And I'm like, "Hey, welcome to the show. That's what it's about. What do you think? They're just going to sit and not do anything?" Of course. That's where the strength comes from, Tamara. You just got to kind of be able to ignore it and filter it out and just, show a positive vision forward. And she was a little bit annoyed at that. And I think she would explain that. Look, we're all suffering a barrage of stuff. I personally don't really care. And I've been through so much of it that I now find it kind of mildly entertaining, which I said online. So anyways, it's our responsibility that if we're going to engage and we're going to be, a little aggressive, people are going to respond aggressively. Okay. Jesse's impersonating Rocky. Is Rocky watching right now? Hello, Rocky. Good afternoon, Rocky. Anyways, okay, but there's the forest for the trees argument, which I'm looking at that I'm more concerned at is this. So blocking has been exploited by political operatives, okay? And they exploit it to engage in defamation and whisper campaigns and all this sort of stuff, but they do it without the subject knowing. That's what Creepy Wilson was doing. That's what Eva was doing. Hurt Locker Tom was doing. What did they do? They all, because I think Keith was running all their accounts, or at least advising them. They would all, block. They all blocked me at once, and then they started on their feeds, just spreading rumors about me, talking about me, all that sort of stuff, and I couldn't even see it. I couldn't go in and respond and say, "Hey, wait a second. What about this little video here where you said this," right? So the blocking allows the structure of the political operatives to build these echo chambers to more effectively lie to you and engage and help promulgate narrative poisoning. That's why there's so many people confused and don't know what's going on. It's because of this blocking. And in Facebook, what they do is they'll set up a Facebook group. And if you try to enter a group, you'll be on a blacklist that you can't engage. That's what happened with me. So I went to the Freedom Convoy groups and all this sort of stuff, and I tried to post stuff, and they would block me from the groups, right? So they're intentionally just building echo chambers so they can effectively lie to you. Welcome to politics. This is what they do. They don't know F all about governing. I say that because Hitchhiker just got back from church. Good morning, brother. But they don't know F all about governing, and they don't care. It's all about manipulating people, narrative poisoning, building voting blocks, building echo chambers, and then turning those into the votes in the next election. That's all they care about. That's why all this money is being spread around to all these proxy organizations. This is how the system works. So they build these silos and echo chambers. And that's why, the left does the same thing. That's why you try to talk to people about the cerveza sickness and the cerveza sickness medicine, and they won't even listen because they've been put into an echo chamber. Through repetition, they're hearing the same thing over and over again. So then when you try to talk to them and say, hey, maybe there's some, questions about it, and they just turn off, It's because they're suffering narrative poisoning. It's a form of brainwashing. And that's what the conservative side, the people who sabotaged the Freedom Convoy, that's what they're trying to do to all of you, right? So I think that's a huge benefit. And I think Elon Musk knows this. He must know this. He must see that there's so much politics and political ops building fake narratives on his platform, and is probably annoying. I know I would be in that situation. I would be annoying as well. I would be annoyed as well. And the other, well, annoying too, I guess, to certain people. It's my gift. But that's just kind of the nature of what it is. And the other thing is with the comment that Elon Musk had made over the past, he made a bunch of comments about this. One of them was, the negative, he talked about negative feedback, and that he said, I don't want to hear, positive comments all the time, because everybody's kissing people's ass when they have money. He said, I want to hear, I like to have negative feedback. And it reminds me of this phrase I learned from this guy, Derek, Veritasium, his channel. A long time ago, I think he did it on a podcast, but it was at an event he was at, and we all got to meet each other and stuff. And his frame is that the value of positive feedback trends towards zero the more you get it. You really don't learn anything unless you're getting negative feedback, like in building a platform and all that sort of stuff. And that's not to say that the harassment and then you suck and all those bots. He's not talking about that. He's just talking about legitimate, practical, and rational criticism. That helps him improve his platform. And and he'll say once in a while I'll get a comment, I'm like, that's a good idea. You know what? You have a point. I probably shouldn't have done that, sort of thing. That's how you improve. And I think that's what Elon Musk is getting at, right? And the other thing is, there's many people, and you see a lot of this on Instagram, there's many people who want to be famous. It's just the way it is. There's a lot of people who are just obsessed or addicted, or I don't know if it's narcissism or what. They just want to be famous. Well, I think they're about to find out. They're about to find out what it's like. Because, again, I've known some famous people throughout my life, a few key people, and it's not all ice cream and chocolate chip cookies. It actually kind of sucks. It really sucks. As people who often try to or want to or aspire to be famous, when they finally achieve that, they realize, oh, this ain't so good. And I think that's why so many of them get hooked on drugs or alcohol or depression, because what you are experiencing online through Twitter or any platform, or what I was experiencing with the constant harassment and name calling, whatever, that's their life every day. That's why I always thought, people being famous, that's really a curse. It can be a curse. That's why podcasting, I was always building other people's platforms and trying to elevate their voices. I didn't want to be in front of a camera. Like, it's just not, I don't really care about that. But, when it came to the Freedom Convoy, I believed in the convoy itself and the message and what we had to do. And I just didn't really have a choice. Had to do it. And now we have the ongoing issues since the convoy, and these echo chambers I discussed that are lying to you and creating narrative poisoning. Okay, well, now I don't have a choice. Now I gotta be here and talk and explain everything to everybody so you all know. Hello, Avril. Good afternoon. I hope you're having an awesome day. Hitchhiker says, sure dead. I pray for my whole family all the time. Well, good on you, brother. That's family first, right? That's good for you, man. All right. So I think personally, and I'm really happy to see that, Jesse, that you get it. You're on board with the removing the blocks, because that just means certain people have to deal with stuff. And you don't think I have a plan for when the blocks are lifted? Oh, it's going to be so much fun. We're going to have lots to talk about on this stream when Elon removes those blocks. My mother always told me as a little kid, she said, your one talent, aside from music and a few other things, she said, your biggest talent is your ability to drive anybody completely up the wall. And so I'm just going to use that against our saboteurs in the political class. Oh, well. What are you going to do?
I have a face of a Hitchhikers. I have a radio face. Being famous wouldn't benefit me. Well, listen, there are people who are famous on the radio as well, but yeah, it's just like, it's weird. You know, I knew somebody, I don't want to get into too much detail, but many, many years ago, she was famous on her TV show got very, very famous. Not a TV show that's in North America. And it's just really obnoxious. It was really, you know, people would refer to her as her character on her TV show, and all privacy in her life was gone. And, you know, I argue privacy, this is why, you know, I'm a proponent of Bitcoin. That privacy is a commodity, and it is probably one of your most valuable commodities. And all these technocrats want to go after them and say, oh, we're entering into an age of zero privacy. There's some people who try to say that pragmatically and saying that's just the way things are. I think we can resist it, and we need to. Because without privacy, I think we're going to have a lot of chaos, right? That's just my personal philosophy. I might be wrong. That's just how I think. Everybody's happy to see you, Avril. It's good to see you too. All right, so Avril, we didn't see you yesterday at the Cambridge event. I was hoping you would be there. It was quite nice, actually. And again, you know, always some political grifters, but most of the people were really great and really signed some books. And some people were there brought books, which I thought was really funny. It was really kind of cool. So I'm going to try to do a little bit more of those surprises when I can, and because nobody knew I was coming. And my lawyer was also there. Jim Karahelios was there as well, and many of his supporters were there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Able to drive anyone up the wall. Get that. Not only will BJ enjoy poking the bear, which I do enjoy poking the bear, it also makes them laugh. Yeah, of course. It's a form of entertainment. It's a form of entertainment when people are lying, right? When you know they're being deceptive, that's when I don't mind, like, just driving them off a cliff. So that's the way to do it. The way to do it is not to get angry and yell people and call people names. The way is to do it is through humor and through ridicule and through mocking. That's how you do it. Beth says, oh yeah, Beth is struggling with this. Beth says, I think I'll have to join Twitter so I can enjoy the fun. So Beth is not on Twitter. She wants to learn about Bitcoin. She got a hardware wallet, and she's uncomfortable or wasn't sure about joining Twitter. I'm suggesting she does. What do you guys think? Should Beth join Twitter? Let me know, and I'll tell her. Cambridge is a few hours away from me. Yeah, I know, Avril. And I had a wedding yesterday. Oh, okay. Well, I hope it was a nice wedding. And congratulations. Shouldn't you be on your honeymoon? I know it's not yours. I'm just teasing. Okay. So, the next thing I want to talk about is the Million Man March or Million Person March or whatever for the children. You're seeing this come around. There's a couple of different ones that are competing with each other. I have a question. We've been talking about some of the stuff that's been going on. You understand. Beth, they're all telling you need to join. So Jesse just said, yes, join. Join X, which is the name of Twitter now. So join and we'll all follow each other. So this million-person march for the children. I've been talking a lot about political ops, political groups, feds, all that sort of stuff, how the structure really works, that no, it's not the CIA and the FBI hanging out. It's people that are tied to the political class that run these proxy movements and organizations and to consolidate votes for political parties. Do you think this million-person march is organic? Have you seen all the graphics? All the graphics all looks consistent, has the same professional look, like a professional graphic designer did it. It all is uniform. You think that's unique? And when I say uniform, just like, remember the Women's March protests? All their signs look the same, all their graphics look the same. It came out of a graphic shop or whatever. Do you think that's organic? Do you think maybe there's political groups that are trying to coordinate this and they're already fighting about who's in control of this
1,000,000-person march, which I don't think is going to end up happening, or will be 1,000,000 people. And listen, I believe in the cause. I understand the cause. I'm with you on there. But once again, the political grifters, psyops, whatever you want to call them, the political operatives is what I like to call them, political convoy, people, these proxy organizations that are going to latch on to the will of what people want in terms of change and just turn it into a profit center for them. Do you think maybe that's what's going to happen? Because I can tell you that to me, the people I see involved in it, looks like they're already fighting with each other. Everybody's already fighting over who controls it. It's like, oh, these people don't stop. And the other thing that I find is interesting is, like, you know, when people, I get annoyed when people talk about the Muslim community. There's many Muslim communities, right? There's many different sects of Islam, and there's many of them that disagree with the sort of extremist nature of some groups, right? They tend to be the fringe groups, but they also tend to be the groups that latch on to politics, right? Do you think it's a good idea that, I think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that one of the people that is involved in bringing together the Muslim community around this is the founder of the Islamic Party of Ontario? Is that something you support? Is that something that the Conservatives Party should support? I know the Conservatives love the money. They really like the money. And they like the volunteers, the blocks of volunteers. Is that really a good idea? Because I'm really shocked at the number of people I've seen all week, Christian conservatives, how amazing it is that they call it the Muslim community is coming together. It's not the Muslim community. There's not one community. And we got to get away from this whole group thing, right? The Christian conservatives, they're all different as well, right? There's all different types of Christians, just like there's all different types of Muslims as well. And it's just very concerning to see so many people abandon some of the concerns and issues to all of a sudden, oh yeah, everything is great. Like, okay. And that notwithstanding, my friends who are Muslim, who are concerned about this too, and try to, as they tell me, wake up you white people, and you guys don't listen is what they tell me. And I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, I try to, you know. But anyways, it's just really, really concerning. I think you should watch some of that stuff. Look for some of the similarities. Look for consistent messaging. People who are involved in it. People who might be, I don't know, controversial in some way, shape, or form. And see how that pans out. But I can tell you already, I don't even think this was organic from the start. Again, I support the cause. I believe it. You know, with what's being done to kids and all of this, you know, and I'm pretty libertarian socially, you all know, but it's getting ridiculous with, you know, kids affirming gender their entire life. Like, this clown show's got to stop, right? But anyways, that's just my personal opinion. But, you know, I don't know. I would just be very, very careful in how things work. And Jesse says, I have no clue about the Islamic community, whatever. Yeah, I know things are complicated. Like, all communities are complicated. That's why it's not a community, it's not a group, it's many different groups. And we need to get away from collectivizing. And anybody who is collectivizing groups, they're not your friend. You know, when people say all Jews X, all Muslims X, all Christians X, people who say that, they're not your friend. That is a modern form of communism, which is based on group identities, right? So we gotta be very careful and sophisticated around that. So I don't know. We'll see how that evolves, and we'll talk more about that moving forward, and we'll see what happens. The thing that matters is the outcome of the election, if there will be one. Yeah, I think, you know, I'm No DJ Productions. Again, I'm going to go back to the one politician in one election is not going to change the culture war. This is going to go on for a generation, but it's a step in the right direction. But you can already notice that Pierre Poilievre has been the Conservative Party apparatus that I always had friction with. they've done a good job in taking Pierre Poilievre and turning him into a cardboard cutout of Pierre Poilievre. And have you noticed the same thing happened to Ron DeSantis, right? Ron DeSantis, who's a great governor, has been turned into a cardboard cutout of Ron DeSantis. I wonder if there's the same people working on their teams. Interesting, right? But anyways, I think in the next election, I'm going to go into that in a second with the next topic I'm going to talk about, which is related to that. So thank you for bringing that up. I think in the next election, I think Trudeau is done at this point. He is just a lame duck. Everybody's tired of him. People on his side are tired of him. He'll retain his 25% base, which is the approximate base of the Liberal Party, or at least has been historically. For those of you who know the meme, 25% of people will get every question wrong on every survey, no matter what. It's no coincidence that 25% is the base of the Liberal Party and the Trudeau part of the Liberal Party. But I think what right now, if you were to have an election in the near future, you would see Trudeau be replaced with the Conservatives, and the Conservatives will do very similar things, but in slow motion. But at least you have somebody in there that you can then start to push and pressure to be more conservative and drop this 3-time strategy that they're running. They're doing it again, of trying to be the Liberal Party. As one MP described it to me, we're going to occupy the traditional center of the Liberal Party. This is in 2015 after the election. I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. I think you should just be conservative. Why don't you just be conservative? Don't try to be the Liberal Party. But seems to be nothing has changed. Hitchhiker, I'm going to the polls and signing off my ballot as rejected. I don't support any of these politicians. Hitchhiker, I'm with you, brother. I've said I'm not going to be voting in this election. And that way I want to be able to talk about all the parties, Liberal, PPC, NDP, Conservative, everything else. And I don't want to be accused of being a shill for anybody, so I'm just not voting. I'm going to sit this one out, and we're going to talk about it together openly without attacking each other and share ideas. Hitchhiker says, 2 wings from the same bird. Yeah, I mean, when the Conservative Party deputy leader was an employee of Katie Telford, Justin Trudeau's chief of staff, it's the Uniparty. Like, that's it. You know, and she was lobbying for Walmart to stay open and for small businesses to be closed. You know, Rebel News, who I'm not a huge fan of, as you know, because of what they did to us during the convoy, Menzies correctly called her out. So why were you lobbying for Walmart to keep stores closed and keep Walmart open during the COVID lockdowns? What Menzies missed, they should have gone the extra step and said, why were you working for Justin Trudeau's chief of staff's firm, the firm that she co-founded, right? So, anyways, but I think at this point it's a foregone conclusion. You'll get Conservatives in there, and hopefully they will they'll at least slow things down. And there's some of the most egregious and extreme policies. I hope they'll put an end to it. They won't do what Doug Ford did, which is be more left-wing than Kathleen Wynne, but use right-wing rhetoric. That's what we got to get away from, right? Megan wants to vote to get rid of all politicians. Yeah. Well, I'll have, if Pierre Poilievre gets elected, I will have something special to announce. But that's way ahead of time. That's far away. I'll be hitting the pavement to the PC candidate here. It won't fix everything, but I think getting Justin Trudeau is a good step forward. Yeah, it's a small step forward. Yeah, I can agree with that. And that's a pragmatic view that, all right, he'll slow things down. It won't be as bad. We can get away from some of the neo-progressive nonsense. But you notice, anyways, whatever. We'll talk about more of that in their future. Getting Justin Trudeau out. I got you. What was the next thing I was going to talk about? Hold on. I don't really look at my notes, so I jot things down. I throw them on a piece of paper and I do this, And I take one glance and then I just talk and I stop. I get lost. Okay, so I want to talk about, and this is tangentially related to that, which is the what's it called? The deceptive political ops, which plugs into this nicely because this is related to the upcoming election, whenever it is, because this is part of the strategy. And this is why it's important for people to understand how it operates, what they did to us at Freedom Convoy, how Freedom Convoy was co-opted, because it plugs in and is directly related to elections. That's what this is all about. It's all about voting blocks, right? Voting blocks, raising money, ensuring no competing parties ever form, which was a big motivation behind all of this, right? Thankfully, the Dutch farmers saw what happened to us and realized they needed to protect themselves against it, right? So these deceptive political ops, it's not, this is nothing new. This has been happening for some time, and they, what's it called? We're starting to get, this is what really spawned it. Somebody reached out and asked me and said, oh, hey, what's all these rumors about Freedom Convoy 2.0? And I thought, oh, here we go again. No, I said, no. I said, there's a bunch of feds who've been trying to bait people into having a convoy since, 2 months, 3 months after the Freedom Convoy, when Trudeau's numbers were plummeting and they realized they had shot themselves in the foot. So what do they need? They need a boogeyman. And this happens every time Trudeau's numbers plummet to extremely low levels. All of a sudden you start hearing, oh, we need another Freedom Convoy, right? And why does that happen? Well, because you're seeing the mechanics of how this works, trying to foster what's called reciprocal radicalization or reciprocal extremism. So right now you see all of these fake news reports and certain politicians that, oh, there's another COVID variant. And I remember thinking, I thought it's a novel virus. It's a novel virus only once. It's not a novel virus every time. Like, okay, yeah, there's a COVID variant. It's probably less lethal than all the other ones. Just like all COVID sicknesses or COVID illnesses that we've had all throughout time. So, yeah, okay, we're now in the cold realm is what we're getting to. So, and it's so funny. We've all learned that it affected old people and people who are overweight. Is the news going out and saying there's new COVID variant? Everyone get to the gym and start exercising and protect yourself because that comorbidity makes you most susceptible to getting ill from COVID. No, they're not doing that. Of course. And you can see the mechanics of how this is working now. A few select politicians that have credibility and have some letters, and people who are tied to the bureaucracy put out statements to scare everybody. The legacy media captures it, doesn't ask any questions, just regurgitates it like a state stenographer. Oh my God, there's a COVID variant. Everybody gets scared. Go run in your home. And the government, there's a twofold of this. Firstly, control over people that support them, right? For a bunch of different reasons. But they know there's a whole bunch of us that ain't having any of this anymore. No. No. You ain't locking anybody down anymore. Sorry, brother. It just ain't happening. It's just not happening. Everybody in the machine, in the government, with all due respect, go fuck yourself. It ain't happening ever again. No. Not happening. But what they're trying to do is they want to foster reciprocal extremism, right? They want to get the people who are maybe a little enthusiastic, unhinged. They need them to start to be vocal and to start, we're doing another convoy. We're going to do this. Like, no, nobody's doing anything because the government hasn't done anything. All you've seen is rhetoric from the news, but they're trying to get people agitated enough that they start to react. So that's extremists within the government, bureaucracy, and media using bureaucracy and media to foster reciprocal extremism, to make you an extremist, to make you lose your temper and say, I've had enough. Yeah, I got to go, whatever. We got to go fight the government, have a convoy, whatever. Don't take the bait. This is too early. The reason they do this every time Trudeau's poll numbers plummet into the toilet. And it doesn't just happen in Canada. This is a common tactic that is utilized by political operatives all over. But what they need is they need a boogeyman. They need a boogeyman who looks angry, that they can tell the normies, look at those scary people. We're trying to protect you from another variant. And those scary people, they're coming again, and they're going to stop us from being able to protect you. That's why we got to abandon all of this. The government's there to protect us and save us. No, the freedom is the protection. Freedom allows you to protect yourself. You don't need a government apparatus to protect you. You protect yourself. That's the way human beings have evolved over the past several millions of years. We're going to keep it that way, right? And if you start to see people start posting about, Convoy 2.0, we're doing this, whatever, those are your feds. Those are your feds. Nobody who's gone through what we did in Ottawa needs to go protest again. We've put a line in the sand for government operatives and the bureaucracy. They now know the line in the sand. And a lot of them are very worried. They understand not to cross that line. But anybody who is trying to mobilize people right now before anything is done, that's your Fed. And it might not be that individual, might not be a Fed. They might just be somebody who's being used as a political proxy to launder this idea through to foster reciprocal extremism. Resist reciprocal extremism. Right now, it's beautiful out. It's the summer. We got our freedom. Ignore the legacy media. More and more people are ignoring it as time goes on. Make it very well known, publicly around your circle and friends or whatever, that we're not doing this ever again. They've destroyed the economy. It's trying to survive, but we're on really shaky ground right now, as we see in transport. Hopefully things will rebound. We're not going to allow them to destroy all of your lives and businesses again. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. Sorry. And if everybody just maintains that frame and communicates that to their friends and their family members and their community, we'll be fine. Because the politicians, who are nothing but cowards, most of them, not all, but most of them, will get the feedback from their constituents that this will not be tolerated ever again. That's the way this works. Don't worry about the vote in the election. Right now, your MP and NPPs and MLAs, if you're out west, they need to know a lockdown will never be tolerated ever again. You need to let them know that now. So because none of them make decisions, they all go to the polling, and the polling says, 50% of people will not tolerate a lockdown. They're not going to do it. So you got to make sure everybody knows to reach out and tell them, hard no, not happening, sorry. And then you don't need to have a convoy. You don't need to have what the Dutch farmers have. We don't need to have any of that, because the system will have communicated to them it won't be tolerated. That's it. That's all you have to do. That's great. But you got to also help people resist reciprocal radicalization or reciprocal extremism by reacting negatively. And you do that by maintaining that positive frame and, being supporting and loving to each other. Like yesterday, it was amazing that, everybody had each other's backs, and everybody, they shared this long moment together in Ottawa, and everybody was supportive of one another. So now there's a network of people, despite the fact that the political class is trying to disrupt it and separate everybody and get everybody get everybody on side with the grifters who sabotaged us and all infighting or whatever. You can see over time it's not working, right? Because it's artificial. So I don't have to worry about that. But just focus on a positive message. Focus on your family and your friends, those who will listen.
And those who won't listen, just give it time. It'll take some time. Even people on the left don't want this anymore. Aside from the hard, extremist political operatives, people just want to be left alone. And they want their governments to leave them alone. That's all over the world, evidenced by what's happening in Argentina. Javier Milei, who looks like he might become the president of Argentina. And I mean, you got to tell, of course he gets the right wing smears, right? Because he's anti all the cultural Marxist and BS ministries in his government. He's gonna cancel it all. He's gonna cut it all out. He's hardcore libertarian, which is what the future is going to be. Which is why I've done libertarian things in politics in the past, because that's where that's where we're all going to be able to agree on stuff, is on our ability to support each other and allow each other to have different worldviews and different political perspectives, but not attack each other for having different worldviews and different perspectives. So, okay, whatever. Disagree, still, we can still get along, and that's it. So I'm very positive on all this stuff. So the most important thing is, do not let people take the bait. Do not succumb to reciprocal extremism. That is just bait from political ops and the government to protect somebody like Justin Trudeau. It's there to protect the entire political class, and it's also there to make an example of you as the boogeyman. Don't do it. Don't take the bait. Let's just wait this thing out. Let's see how things develop and communicate to as many people as possible that freedom is the path forward for all of us. All right, that's all I got for today, because it's a little bit shorter. I got to get in the truck, even though I got I got a couple of different deliveries in different places, like New York and way far in New Jersey. I don't know how I'm gonna, this is gonna be a long one. But anyways, I got to get in the truck today, and but I wanted to share this with you because I'm sorry I couldn't do a live stream yesterday. I thought it was important to go see Chaba and everybody else and hang out, and it was great. It was a beautiful day. It was not a cloud in the sky. A little bit of traffic, of course, but it was awesome. Beth says, I'm with Megan. Vote to get rid of all politicians. I think the whole crop that we have could be maybe replaced. That's why there is room for maybe another political party in the future at some point if things don't change. There will eventually be an appetite for it, and I'm not going to get into PPC. We'll talk about that when we talk about the leadership and the parties leading up to the elections. And but just don't take the bait. That's it. Just don't take the bait. Focus on positivity, and focus on, we talked about those questions, the 5-minute journal. Focus on the things that give you gratitude every day, and the things that you're going to do every day to make that day amazing. It'll help you plow through all of this stuff and ignore the noise, which is the legacy media and some of our political bureaucracy. All right, I got to run. Love you, Jesse. Thank you. You have a safe day. Cheryl, you as well. Meg, everybody in here, Avril, everybody who's there, and everybody who's listening in the future, and everyone who's walking their dog and listening. I love you too. Send a message, reach out, stay positive. Things are going to get great. We're on the verge of an Enlightenment 2.0. It's just going to take some time to get there, but we'll get there.